Hello, this is me, the Hub Critic, back again with episode 15. Episode 15, I'm just gonna check that I may be wrong, guys, because I'm always making mistakes. So, yes, it is episode 15 of the Hub podcast. If you didn't know, I'm surprised if you don't know, because that would be kind of weird, because you're watching this, and as we speak. And yeah, I'm going to speak with another episode. I'm going, just a quick update on the entire The Hub Critic for the Hub podcast in particular. I will be doing these, just to let you know, on a weekly basis. So, here up to the running of, well, especially up to the running of September, the middle of September, I'll be doing my Red Dwarf reviews to keep them up to date. So, yeah, just a quick notice about that. Yes, important. So yeah, obviously all 11 reviews on each episode of the Hub podcast. That's something cool to stick around for. Last week, I did upload 2 other videos. I uploaded the Friday show about the Olympics, and I also uploaded top 5 current teams that have never won an NBA championship, which is actually a pretty cool video. So go check that out. It's a top 5 video. So I mean, the reason I didn't do a top 10 video, just a bit of background here. Because there's only 12 teams that haven't won an NBA championship, and making a top 10 would just be including all teams, really. So there wasn't really any point of doing that. I wanted to make it a bit more exclusive, and also it's an easier list to put together and compile. Come on, it takes half the time. And this in particular, I was actually glad I made it only top 5, because honestly, it took me like 1 day of scripting, scripting is pretty short actually. I don't know. But 2 solid days of editing of 2 hours on like Friday and 4 hours on Saturday. It was a lot of editing, okay? I'm not even joking. And I actually planned out every scene. It was actually pretty cool. If you want to hear me do like a behind the scenes on that, or like show what I did in my process, I will probably make a video about that. I actually think that's kind of interesting to know. So yeah, I might actually do that if you guys are kind of interested in that. So comment below if you're interested, or I might just do that every week, talking about the video. But it's not that interesting. It was just this one time I just found it interesting to talk about it. I haven't done that before in that way. So yeah, obviously that's something I really want to talk about in this episode. But before we do that, here is our obviously designated intro for the episode. I am the Hub Critic, and I have 32 subscribers, and let's see, 21.859 views. Cool, that's awesome. Still 32 subscribers. It's very stagnant, really. Yeah, you can actually check out my popular uploads now from my homepage, which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And the Hub Critic Season 1 has begun, guys. Just to hash back on the other thing there. The Hub Critic Season 1. Now, The Hub Critic is a new series I'm starting last week. And it's going to be really finely edited videos. If you haven't seen that video, the first video, which is the NBA video, that was the sort of style I'm going for. So I script them and then I edit them. So usually it takes me about 3 days to make a video, and currently I haven't actually started on my process of making another video. So I might start tomorrow, then I'll have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but I probably will start today, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then have it up on Sunday. So this is the Hub Critic Season 1. Again, I don't know how many episodes will be in Season 1, but it'll definitely go on for a good while, and I'm going to have a break and then I'll stop. But you can expect a video out every week unless I have an excuse. I'm staying very strict with this, because whenever I do a series and I say, oh yeah, it's going to be out every week, I just don't do it. With the Friday show, I know I said that, but I need to stay strict with this. So if I mess up, I'm going to do a punishment on the channel. I'm going to do a punishment. I'm going to suggest a punishment. So at the end of this episode, I'm going to make up a punishment if I don't do an episode each week. So obviously this week, I'm definitely going to get started with that right now, as soon as I'm finished this podcast, and get up and I'm going to do the scripting of that episode. But anyways, yeah, actually that does have something. I will leave a little clue at the end what the new episode will be about at the end of this episode, but it's actually going to be pretty exciting, so stay tuned for that near the end of this episode. Yeah, that's my little intro. Hope you liked that. Anyways, into the first topic of today's episode, and we're going to hash back to something that I really want to get out of the way firstly, because it's been tossing and turning in my mind. Never has a movie been has made me so angry. I don't know why. It really shouldn't. It was a movie going into it. It was kind of innocently looking like a positive movie, right? And you can see it here. It's Suicide Squad. Now, honestly, my lead up to this movie, I'm gonna just talk about my lead up to this movie firstly before we get into any real dirty topics about it. But firstly, this movie, Suicide Squad, I saw the first trailer. I really liked it. I thought it was very, very good. The first trailer that came out, I think last August, it got me so hyped. And I literally know nothing about the Suicide Squad, anything about that. I think the editing got me. It was just gave me chills. Like, I honestly just loved the editing in the trailer. And I was really excited about the characters as well. I think they all looked really cool. The second trailer gone, I think it was good, but I was beginning to see, it was still good. Like, I understand. I was like, this is kind of similar to the first trailer. I know that, but it sort of looks a bit choppy, and I actually could kind of see the editing come out that was we saw in the movie. Spoilers. Come out in the trailer, but I was like, I'm still saying pretty positive about this. I heard other people saying, don't put your expectations too high. So I never really did. I never went in going, oh, this is gonna be crazy good. I mean, I did at the very start, the first trailer, like obviously months back, a year ago. But going into this movie, I'm like, okay, I know this is not gonna be great. Then, of course, the reviews came out. This was probably the week of when I was going to see the movie, because I actually got presented with the idea on Friday, on Thursday, the day before the release of the movie in Ireland. So my two friends said, oh, go see it. And I said, yeah, sure, I'm going to do that because obviously, obviously though, I really want to see it, and they presented me. I wasn't going to be an asshole and say no, obviously, why would I not? I was kind of excited to see it anyways, because I was planning to see it, because this movie, guys, yeah, the reviews, I was planning to see it. My reason planning to see it, because I was curious. The reviews kind of pushed me to see it, which is kind of like, really? Honestly, I thought the reviews made me want to see it even more, and that's kind of like, you might not think that, but I thought that because I think the reviews were so, like, hashed down negative, critical reviews. I was like, this really doesn't seem right to me. I know they were giving these horrible, horrible reviews, but the trailers looked like, I mean, they didn't look great, okay, but there was something in there I was like, really? I heard like, the movie's just so bad, there's no Joker in it, and the story is just horrible and everything like that. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go in with an open mind, and I'm going to take on criticism on board. I know that it's not going to be a perfect movie. I know that it's not going to be the best movie ever of all time. And I went in with that mind, that kind of mindset. It's kind of a different mindset to not knowing anything about the movie. And this is kind of why I really hate the idea of critical reviews before the movie comes out. I think I get it, but it also leads a movie to be destroyed, like literally destroyed. I think, it's great to have, but it's also just a bad thing in general, because it can destroy or make a movie without you deciding for yourself, which is always the thing. Like, I get, like, watching a movie and then going back over it and deciding, yeah, that was a good movie, but I think it's better to decide for yourself than make up your mind based on a critic, because critics are very deceiving. Like me, they're very deceiving, because they're never, they're never gonna always be right. But when they are, when one has a certain opinion, they can always be carried through with other people, and it's like a wave effect. I mean, this movie had a wave effect. It was so hotly anticipated that when the movie came out and was found, oh, this isn't a very good movie. This is just kind of an awkwardly decent movie, in my opinion. I'll get into that later. The reviews shat all over this movie. They did, and I honestly think it's a DC thing. I know what people are going to think about this, and they're going to comment below, oh, you're a DC fan, but I'm not. I think I personally prefer Marvel based on, what they've done with previous exploits with the Avengers. Avengers 1 being one of the greatest movies of the 21st century. That's not even an overstatement. I think it's honestly such a great movie based on its premise and all the build up to it. It's such a good movie. And also a big fan of the Deadpool TV series on Netflix and all the preceding shows, Jessica Jones, all that. They're really cool. And the universe that they've built is amazing. I love the superheroes. My favorite, the thing that got me into superheroes in the first place was their cool powers. And honestly, that's why obviously that's not pretty apparent in Suicide Squad that much. It's not really about the powers, to be honest. But I really like Marvel. I think it's I prefer I used to prefer DC back when they had the Dark Knight trilogy, and then when they fell off the board with Man of Steel, which I don't think that was sounded that great, and I didn't really want to see it. And then Batman vs Superman, I was like, oh, I'm on board. I'm watching this. And Jordan brought me along to see it as well. Sorry to sneeze. And my friend. So yeah, I saw that. I didn't like it at all. I kept looking at my watch halfway through the movie. I was like, this is just shite. But I gave it a chance, and that was the thing. I gave it a chance, and I was like, I'm giving this DC Universe thing a chance. They were really pushing. That was sort of one of the problems with that movie. It tried too hard. Not just, in the Man vs Superman fight and all that. That was really just really shocking. But it tried too hard to build a universe and make it look really awesome in one movie. In the Marvel movies, they kind of gave subtle hints throughout all the singular movies. That's how I wanted them to do it. But DC decided, and this is one of the reasons DC decided to do this, and it's carrying through Suicide Squad as well. Not like as a parent, because obviously they're not building. Well, they are building up the Justice League in this movie as well. But in the last movie, they definitely dropped the ball in that movie, honestly. They build up everything in that movie. But what was I lost my train of thought here. Yeah, in this movie, it was good. I honestly think it was good. I know people are going to shit on me again by saying that. But one of the reasons I enjoyed this movie so much is the characters. Now you're going to tell me, but, a lot of characters were bad in this movie. Yes, a lot of characters were alright in this movie. I don't think Katana was half bad. She had potential. She can't say she was bad because she never did anything bad. She just wasn't good. Boomerang, he was decent. He was funny. He had good laughs. And just to back up Killer Croc, I think Killer Croc doesn't need... if you say Killer Croc, oh, he'd never talked. He's not good. Groot never talked in his movie. He just said, I am Groot all the time. Honestly, you can't say he's bad because he doesn't talk. Like, that's just not... Yeah, okay, you can say he's less personality than Groot, which I sort of agree with there. But Killer Croc, he's a physical guy. He does physical things. So he is useful to the team. So there is a reason for him being there. And he has a swimming ability, which is sort of useful. And he's also... There's one scene where he goes, oh, I'm going to do this for myself. That's so badass. I love that scene where he does that because he's just so hands-on with that. Groot would probably fucking faint if he saw that opportunity. I mean, yeah, I know I'm probably going to be angry here. But yeah, anyways, the characters, amazing characters. The development was so superb throughout that entire movie. They really built it up, and these characters had human flaws. Harley Quinn, for one, she was spectacular, as usual. She grew on me throughout the entire movie. I started off like, why is she here? And then at the end of the movie, I was like, she made this movie. For honestly, she was my favorite. She was probably my favorite character. But Deadshot again, I'm kind of thinking I should kind of prefer Harley Quinn, but Deadshot again, really nice. Will Smith plays it out of the ballpark, and he has this sort of way about him. He's not too Will Smith. He's not gonna, take over the movie or anything. He just sort of stood there and complimented everything in the movie. And his ability, yeah, it was alright. It was cool. He showcased the ability at least. But the best thing about him was his human side. And you can also see this human aspect flow through all the other characters in the movie. Harley Quinn, again, she had this human side to her. She wasn't just a blank, one-dimensional criminal. She was a human. And that made the character just unpredictable, spectacular, and you never know what was going to come out of her mouth next. And that kind of... This movie was a drama piece, but an action piece. It was not a superhero movie. I think if you judge this alone, without putting any Marvel movies into perspective, which you might do, because you may be like, oh, DC, they've make another shit movie, or not a shit movie, but a movie that isn't as good as any of the Marvel movies. You can't put it in I always hate this when people compare two things, or say, oh, I can only choose Marvel or DC. You can like both. I like both, and I'm not too high in either one, like over the top on each. I just sort of go, oh yeah, Marvel's cool, DC's cool. I make fun of each. I go, you're a Marvel fanboy, or I make fun of Marvel sometimes, and I make fun of DC sometimes. So I mean, it's just that way. But in this movie, if you judge it as a superhero movie, pitted it alongside the Avengers, Captain America: Civil War, which came out this year, you'll be like, oh, this is shockingly bad. But I didn't judge it that way. I judged it as a fun summer flick, action flick that has real characters that, yeah, let's face it, are not great superheroes, but are cool little villain pieces, and they're just, as characters, nice. They're nice characters. They're in a story that's lackluster. Action is a bit lackluster. Effects are a bit lackluster. I mean, the effects are alright, and the entire premise of it is just kind of questionable. But it's also cool. I liked it. I had a laugh. I didn't take it too seriously, and I enjoyed it. And that's how you should enjoy this movie. It's not a movie to be enjoyed too seriously. As well as Ghostbusters. And I wanted to go on Ghostbusters 1 sec, because I think this sort of had a reverse Ghostbusters effect. I'm going to claim this term myself, and you can all follow along and say, oh, Tim, what are you saying? But this is a reverse Ghostbusters effect. Because if we remember when Ghostbusters which came out, I'd say a month ago, was it? A month? Or, no, 2 weeks ago. Well, actually, no. 3 weeks. 4 weeks. Around a month ago in America, I'm just going to say that. Ghostbusters, we all knew these trailers. We saw about 3 trailers leading up to this movie. We were like, this is shite. I talked about it with my friend. We watched one of the later trailers, and we saw these are getting worse and worse as they go along. Honestly, I can't believe they made the first trailer even worse. But obviously, we know the bad press that first trailer got. It got many, many dislikes on YouTube. Nearly surpassed, I think it was the most disliked trailer on YouTube. I don't know if it's the most disliked video. I think it was the most disliked trailer. Everyone bandwagoned on hating this movie. I, for one, sort of agreed, but I was like, we gotta be cautious about this, because I know I don't like everything that's going around this movie. I personally didn't mind the fact that it wasn't that funny. I was like, okay, fair enough. It's gonna be blowing me out of my seat here. But every reaction from everybody who's saying, oh, you're misogynistic if you don't like this trailer. Oh, you're an idiot if you do like this trailer. I just hated it. I just hated this fan destroyer. But mainly, I hate the Paul Feig who directed this movie saying, oh, you are misogynistic. That's misogynistic if you don't watch this movie. That's just a stupid ploy to get people to watch your movie, okay? That's stupid. Yes, so everyone thought it was shit going into it. Then the movie came out, and people saw, oh, this isn't as shit as we thought it would be. And in fairness, I can agree, it was not as bad as people thought it would be. But it was not a great movie. Now people decided, oh, if they'd gone into seeing an average trailer and saw an average movie, they would have thought, oh, it's average. But going into seeing a shit trailer and seeing so much more than you expected, they're like, this is a brilliant movie! Which it wasn't. It was not a brilliant movie. People were getting it 4-star out of the ballpark. Oh, this is one of the finest points in all of the world. It wasn't. Okay, here's the thing. The characters were shit. The characters were alright. I give it that. The actors are pretty brilliant. But they weren't that funny. There were lazy hash-ins on the original with, cheap tie-ins with the villains. And also the original cast, which was just laughable. The plot, it's about as paper thin as the Suicide Squad plot, believe it or not. And it's also really, it doesn't have the signature style which made Ghostbusters good. So my main problem with that was, okay, if you're trying to be a remake, and stray away from the original, you're not even a good version of the original. So if you're judging a standalone movie, okay, I guess it's an alright movie, but Ghostbusters is just so much better. And I understand, yeah, you're comparing 2 comic book movies. Why didn't you watch the other? The thing with Suicide Squad is it's no Marvel movie. There's no Marvel movie I can really compare that to. It's darker, firstly, and it's really not a superhero movie. So you can't really compare the two. With Ghostbusters, I can compare the two because they're really similar. I know you're saying, oh, but it's a remake. It's completely different. It's not really. It's just sort of, it's too different to be a sequel. But it's also too similar to be judged on its own on its own merit without thinking of the original. I mean, if you think I'm a hypocrite, go ahead and say that. But I don't think they're really the same thing. Anyway, the reverse Ghostbusters effect. What was I saying? Ghostbusters. Everyone thought it was amazing, or at least they thought it was 70% plus, which is good. Is a good movie compared to it being an average movie with an average trailer. It was a bad movie with an average bad trailer. Sorry, with an average movie, as most people were saying. I kind of agree, but I kind of stray on people saying it's amazing. I was like, yeah, I kind of agree with these critics, But maybe they're a bit over on this movie. Maybe they're a bit high in the fact that it's better than the trailer, and it wronged all of the fans because everyone was backlashing on it. And I thought it was alright, okay? I didn't want to see it in movies because I'm not interested in seeing this movie. And people are going to say, oh, why didn't you see it? I'm just not interested in seeing Ghostbusters remake, okay? I've seen Indiana Jones, I was disappointed by that. I've seen other remakes, and I know that they're probably worse, but Ghostbusters didn't blow out their critics' reviews even. It didn't get 5 stars or 4 stars. It did, but, you know, most out there, it wasn't even that good. So, I've heard it's not amazing. I know friends said it was alright, said it was good. I just don't feel like seeing it, I guess. Anyways, it's not my style movie, I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to head. The reverse Ghostbusters effect, I haven't got around to it, how do I? Suicide Squad, anyways. Those trailers, really well received. Then the movie came out and was like, well, this isn't as good as the movie. This movie is shit. This movie is shit. So yeah, you went from fantastic trailers to, oh my god, this movie doesn't live up to trailers. It's shit. And honestly, I think obviously the Marvel thing came into a lot. This is nowhere as good as Marvel. This movie is shit. And trailers are shit. So yeah, just to finalize on this review, I'm not really doing a review right now. I guess this is sort of a review. This is more opinions based. This is my rant on it because, yeah, honestly, I think the movie was alright. And I could go into a full review of it. I probably will upload a full review on my channel because this isn't really much of a scripted review, honestly. I'm just going to read out something that I wrote on some guy's YouTube channel, Dante Savage Reviews, who agreed with me on his opinion on the movie, and then we're going to end on this topic, because this topic is getting a bit out of hand, how long I'm talking about it for. And I'm just going to basically just read out what I wrote, because I think it kind of has some sort of meaning. I actually wrote this in the middle of the night. I was kind of a bit tired, but honestly, I think this does have some relevance in my argument here, so I'm gonna read this out. No judging, guys. You can comment below, nice and civilized, okay? And I'll respond to all your comments, don't worry. Here is my comment on the movie. If I can find it. Here it is. Here we go. My god, I was so glad to see someone share my point of view. I thought this movie wasn't great, but it definitely was not as horrible as most people were saying. Honestly, the story was as good at the beginning for me, and sort of worse as it went along, but at least it was funny. And in all fairness, it was advertised that way. Also, people were saying that the relationship between Harley Quinn and Joker was not like the comics, but I felt, why not try something different? And even the Joker, who literally was not in the movie, made me feel excited for more in his unique take on the character in a future film. So he had a unique take on this film. Sorry, I phrased that weirdly. I love the character of Diablo, Harley Quinn and Deadshot. I was committed to their stories, and I kept wanting more of them when they weren't on screen, which is a good sign. I guess that you could have used it developing a few more minor characters like Croc and Katana, but hey, again, the movie needed a lot of fixing. Overall, I guess I just found it a non-serious sort of take on criminals with a really sadistic and almost fitting moral about being a criminal, if you want to be, but don't be a complete douchebag to good people who may or may not be criminals. Well, at least what I took from it. The editing was admittedly crap, but it sort of added to the crazy style of the movie, and I honestly think this was a hopefully less choppier and better written movie in the future. The Suicide Squad cast have the potential to go on to actually proper decent films that they deserve. So there you go, was my big old rant on Suicide Squad. Make sure to check it out in cinemas if you haven't already. I would recommend checking it out just to formulate your own opinion on this movie. If you're not that into it, or if you agree with what the critics are saying, which is by the most part quite true, but if you're just interested in a good summer blockbuster and you are not that critical on movies at all, and you don't really care, go watch this movie. But if you're not that into that sort of stuff, and you don't really care about DC, you hate DC, maybe give this one a pass and wait till it comes out on DVD. Yeah, for the most part, wait till it comes out on DVD. I'm just saying, you might waste your money, or go for half price in the cinema. I don't know. There's lots of ways you can go around this. But anyways, moving on to next topic. So next up on this show, it wouldn't be a show or podcast without talking about the Olympics, because we're during the Olympics. We are week one of many, actually not many. If you include the Paralympics, it's going to be going on for like a month. But I think the Olympics is about 16 days long or something like that, so it's quite a while. We had a nice opening ceremony in Rio de Janeiro. It was actually a great time to be had. I watched this for about 3 hours. One problem I do have with the Rio opening ceremony, now, I don't know if you guys share the similar problem with this. It is that the Rio freaking ceremony is 4 freaking hours long. There was literally, I saw the RT coverage, it was from 12 p.m. to about 3 a.m. I think. I switched over to BBC and it was 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. I think. So that was crazy. Like, I'm just crazy about that. So one of the problems that I faced with this was I actually missed the torch relay because it was on after the countries, which is kind of ridiculous. It should always be on before the countries. I don't know why it wasn't on. Yeah, anyways, the little ceremony before it was great. The countries coming out were cool. I forgot that North Korea were in this. It's pretty mad that I forgot, but yeah, North Korea are in the Olympics apparently. The reason I didn't think this was because I actually remembered because I remember London was one of the highlights was of course the North Korea in the football being shown their flag as South Korea by an accident. That was kind of embarrassing. I almost thought we were under a nuclear threat from Kim Jong-un at that point. But alas, we've made it 2016 and we're alright. Hopefully no mishaps will happen. Actually, North Korea aren't doing too bad at the moment. They've gotten 3 medals, 2 silvers and 1 bronze. So congrats to them. I never thought I'd say that before, but hey, well done. Yeah, it was good times to be had, actually. I actually enjoyed it. Enjoyed North Korea. No, I enjoyed the opening ceremony. Sorry, guys. It's getting a bit awkward right now. A bit #aux. That's from What Culture. What Culture WWE could channel check out, actually. And that was funny. I don't know why I said that. It was really weird off reference from What Culture for one of their episodes. But anyways, back to the topic of assignment. Because the Olympics are good times to be had. I think they're fun. I think they're like a uniting sort of thing for the world. I mean, if you put apart, all country. Like my favorite thing about the Olympics is, it's not like the World Cup where you have to qualify or, there's always going to be countries that never get in because they're not good enough. Olympics is all inclusive. It doesn't care if your country is shite or good. Like shite is in India, which is just shite. Believe me, they're good at like one event. Or Ireland, because we're shite as well. Confidence for the win. Or if you're amazing like America or China, there's sort of like a level playing field. Russia. And it's all good times to be had, honestly. The scandals around the Olympics are pretty annoying, but I didn't really care because I was just excited for the Olympics themselves. Even my friend who says he was not going to watch the Olympics because he thought it was really bad, ended up actually enjoying it and getting excited about it. And that's the thing I care about the most. People get excited about this stuff. And it makes it special. It makes it special. I don't quite understand. If you don't appreciate something like the Olympics, I don't know what you do appreciate. Because this is just like the human condition of perfection. I think it's great. So, I mean, I just personally enjoy the Olympics as much as the next man. Even possibly a bit more because I'm making a video about it, which most people probably wouldn't. Crazy enough, as it sounds. I don't know how this turned into a rant about the human condition. I personally don't know how it happened. Good opening ceremony, and we're about day 4 or day 5 into the Olympics. It's a good time to be had, guys. Ireland actually have had the best day so far. We've won in the hockey. We've won in 2 rowing events on the sea that were delayed to today, and we've also won a boxing event. So Ireland have a hit day today, actually, and we're all in the finals on a lot of those events. With the hockey, we have to win tomorrow, so I'm definitely going to be checking out that match tomorrow. And one of my favourite key events of the Olympics, the basketball, men's basketball. Yesterday, we had a really good game between Australia and USA. It was a historic game as well because USA are obviously a historic team. They were the dream team in 1992, and they really dominated, and they've won the last 2 Olympics since 2004. Fun fact, or 2008, I think. And they've beaten Spain twice. This year, it's kind of different. I like when Olympics change and there's dramatic changes, because obviously we had that kind of in the World Cup. Not the World Cup, the Euros, where, there's a kind of changing of the guard between, countries like Germany and countries like France. Even though Portugal won, that's sort of a different story. Portugal kind of toddled their way to the finals. I don't know, I don't really go into details on that. But in the basketball, which is a very popular event itself, great crowds as well. The very enthusiastic crowds at these events, and nice arena was awesome. But USA have actually had a historic. This was an historic match for the USA because it's the first time that a team has come in and had more medals than them, I think. Now, this is kind of the historic stats here. I think the US team at that point had 3 medals on their squad. They had not Steph Curry, because Steph Curry was on the squad, obviously. They had, I'm going to lift off, Kyrie Irving had a gold medal. Of course, Kyrie Irving, he has the NBA ring. I should be saying rings, not gold medals, but NBA ring for Kyrie Irving, and 2 others. Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. So there was 3 on that team. The Australian team, on the other hand, had 4. They had 2 from Patty Mills and 1 from 2 other members, which, God, I can't remember off the top of my head. So it was pretty cool, actually really exciting for me, personally watching it. And Australia led at half-time and really kind of led this first 2 quarters. But again, in the second 2, USA turned it around, and they really had a lot of quantity of shots as part from quality. Their field goal was way down, but they had a quantity of shots that led them to the victory. USA are just such a dominant force. I honestly think the finals predictions-wise, guys, it could be 2 of my kind of touted-up teams, and I think it could be a bronze medal for Australia. That's my predictions, guys. Silver medal for Lithuania, I think. I think they're the team to watch. And a gold medal for US. And again, in 4th place, I think Spain are going to finish. Spain have lost 2 matches so far, and I think they've lost against Lithuania. Lithuania are definitely a team to watch. They're probably the 3rd best team in the Olympics, after Spain and US. But I personally think that Lithuania are going to fall, or sorry, Spain are going to fall short in this one. They haven't been great, honestly. Pau Gasol has aged, and the team altogether, which I think is a really good team, I don't know, they haven't been showing up too well. They've lost 2 straight games. I don't know, this seems like a bad sign. This seems like the warning lights are flashing for the Spanish squad, in my opinion, but hey, I could just be overreacting here all the same. Anyways, one thing can be confirmed: US are going to be in the finals, and they most likely will win the the Olympic gold medals. So I'm happy to see those guys in the squad get them. And I'm really happy once again for another dynamic, because, I mean, guys like Steph Curry, LeBron James are not there. So it does mean that, other stars get to shine. I know Kevin Durant is a big star anyways, as it is. But, those guys are not actually NBA champions, so they're kind of cool in that way, that they're really out there to star and to shine. Yes. And, hopefully get a gold medal. I'll be excited. Yes, okay. Moving on. Other sorts of stuff in the Olympics, obviously these, other things that I'm gonna say about. I'm really cashing off the Friday show. So far, being really good time. I have loved it. There hasn't been really anything that disappointed me, actually. I think Rio have done a great job. They've worked with their budget and they've done so well. The venues are absolutely fantastic. Especially that basketball arena is really cool. My favorite arena, personally, actually, is the, not the football arena. There was one that I really liked, but I think all the arenas are really, really cool. I haven't really seen the Athletics Stadium yet, because we haven't really started the Athletics until tomorrow, the next day, or maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure. I think it starts tomorrow, at least, in my opinion. But I think my favorite part of the Olympics so far has been the bike race. That has been a really exciting. I've never thought I would say that cycling has been exciting to watch, but the last 10 kilometers are so gripping to watch, and the scenery at the very end is so nice. It's so nice. Rio is one of the best backdrops because it has Copacabana Beach and has the beautiful strolling mountains. It's one of the places in the world I want to be. Probably my top 5 of beautiful places ever. If you've seen Rio, that movie is, it's animation. It's not a great movie, but damn, it looks nice. If you've seen any movie set in Brazil, it's just beautiful to watch. Absolutely beautiful. That's why I think this is one of the most beautiful Olympics ever. Now the cons, I should say, of the Olympics, because just some things that have urged me a bit that hasn't been great. there has been a bit of like rowing condition issues, and this does affect the last Olympics as well. There was a lot of wind. It is the winter, of course, in Brazil, and there was a lot of wind actually at one point, and that has affected a few of the sailing things that to be moved the next day, or not the sailing. The sailing can continue on. The rowing, it's been very choppy actually, condition wise. Also, the temperature has been quite high, even though it is obviously winter in Brazil. And thirdly, green water, WTF. The water in the diving was green for some reason. I don't know what the hell was up with that. Yeah, it's also been good. It's just been great times to be had. I think this is a lot more open Olympics than a couple of the last, because I think it's going to be fun. So yes, as you can probably garner for what I just said there, a really good consensus from me. And I'm one who personally does enjoy the Olympics, unlike some people who just shit all over it again. I hate the controversy that everything that needs to be surrounded by these dates. Like, why? I don't care. I want to see the sports. That's all I care about. I don't think these things should be connected, controversy, news, and sports. It just doesn't go together very well. There's always controversy. And I hate looking at the controversy and having it overshadow the Olympics. So far, they've definitely got a good job of, dampening down lowering down the intensity of the debate over. I mean, the debate over Zika is definitely something that's affected them, but they've really, overpowered that with the sports, which has been great, and also the Russian athletes. They've definitely downplayed that as well. One comment on the British team, I think they said, we came in fourth place, unfortunately, but I don't want to be controversial here, but a Russian athlete was ahead of us, so hopefully. And I thought that was really insensitive, and I think, honestly, less of that stuff and more of just focusing on the athletes. That's what I want. So yeah, anyways, I'm hoping for that. Anyways, thank you guys for listening to that segment. What else did I want to talk about on this review? Actually, one thing, personal, kind of close to home in my life, and kind of just I want to talk about before we get to the Red Dwarf review later on, and it is kind of personal, not personal to me, but personal to my towns. I want to keep it kind of low because I don't want people to know where I live. So I'm literally just going to tell you in general terms about the story. Anyway, so the story was, so there's a news article posted on my local town bill sort of thing online for everyone to see, and it was also posted on Facebook, so a lot of people saw it there. But it was a thing about safety concerns over the harbour. Now, honestly, this kind of affected me. This was such a big deal, but also the person who was running it actually, affected me as well, because he had acted kind of daftly towards members of my friends. And I actually had done it before. There's a place in our town. It's a harbour. You can picture that with a pier sticking at the end. You can jump off it, right? So I jump off at one area. There's also another area we can jump off, which is kind of a bit dangerous because obviously it lies with where ships go by. But our friends are kind of I guess crazy in a way, but sensitive enough to not jump off and of course get hurt by or hit a boat or anything like that. That would just be stupid. They're clever enough. I mean, most people are. But there's a man there who runs this place. He's called the Harbour Master. That's probably not giving any details out. And he posted this on Graceland's Guide. So obviously he had the permission to do this. I don't know why, but he felt like he had to publicly say that they were doing perilous things and that this was just against their safety, and that they could risk a tragedy happening. Now, I have a few problems with this article. Firstly, the man who did this, firstly, actually I'm going to go basically onto it and then move on to, personal stuff, whatever. It's not really personal with me, but it's personal with friends. Again, I said this. It's not, don't feel bad for me, or don't attack me about it, because it's not me in particular. It's actually other people. But they, obviously, I'm not going to talk about it in any way that they will be compromised. Their privacy will be compromised, because I hate doing that to people. Anyways, so yeah, these friends of mine, one other thing I was going to comment on. So one problem I had with this guy was he was kind of a bully. He actually gave out to these guys for going up here, and in all fairness, it is illegal under some laws, but they weren't doing anything. I mean, they literally were not even in the harbour. He just might have assumed that they were going up there to dive, which in fairness, he probably could have seen them in the past, but he had no reason to go over and attack them verbally or whatever, and say, "Oh, put your bags in here." He actually literally told them that, and that was just stupid in my opinion. Yeah, he shouldn't have done that. I think it's just a dick move in my opinion. And then he ended up compromising people's. Also, in another way, he compromised people's privacy by showing public pictures of them on Graceland's Guide on Facebook, which was stupid in my opinion. I think that's just like private pictures like that. Who took pictures of them? I don't know. Maybe some inside job by a child or something, and a parent found out or whatever, and contacted the marina, which is the last thing I think that happened. But it could. I have no idea. There's some in thing that's going on. I think there's a small group of people who really, like, most people are fine with this. I mean, I'm fine with this. I don't care if your child decides to jump off this. The parents if they haven't, and in most cases the parents probably don't know. I don't. In most cases they probably do. So I think the parents have permission to do this, right? And adults walk by and think it's cool and think it's alright, and they don't really care. It's not affecting them. But if the child doesn't have the parent, it is definitely is not up to the parent to know. If it's not up to the parent to know this, and they don't know where the child is being all the time, I think that's a parenting issue. But also, obviously the child could lie, and that wouldn't really be the parent's fault. In any way, really, because you can't really be too secretive, or you can't be too over on your child, right? If that's the child's fault in their case, then I think they have the gumption not to get injured doing this. Now, if they get injured, of course, I think this, which is the last possible thing that will happen. Obviously, that's an issue. I'm just going to read over this article again. I don't want to compromise any privacy here. That's the last thing I want to happen. But I really wanted to just hash over this one last time. So that's obviously my second thing. It's not really the child's fault. If anything, really. Okay, here's the thing. A child will have more gumption than it happened, and nothing like this really has happened in 5 years. Which is another thing. Like, it's been open for 5 years for this to happen. Ever since the harbour was built, and nothing bad has happened. Obviously, now again, people get a little bit injured, like a guy had a nosebleed. I think this kind of what sparked this in the first place, but nothing serious has happened. So again, he doesn't have permission. He doesn't really have any, evidence to back him up, saying this is obviously this is risky. This is dicing with death, as he was saying, and it's just not. Indeed, I don't think it's indeed faithful of him to say something like that, and just act like, it's completely. I don't think it's right for him to say anything like that. Third reason, because I'm going to bring it up here, and it's something that I think is stupid. It is more stupid than anything else, really. And I think it's just really stupid. I was going to eat some sweets here because I am bored. I just kind of pulled the article. The article won't get pulled up here for some reason. But yeah, I think I'm finishing off on this and saying this guy. Firstly, he's a weirdo. Secondly, I don't know. Actually, one thing here, I have found the article. All I'm gonna say is, here's the thing about this article now. Here's one thing that I don't know, I found annoying and kind of like irking towards me, and it's this guy who has a sort of I don't know. I think this whole story, I know it's kind of petty for me to talk crap about this guy, but honestly, I think this guy, he's going a bit over about it. Now, most people don't. Okay, there's kids who ruin it for everyone and act aggressive, and there was one case where he did call the guards on them, but honestly, for most people, he's just threatening them. Really, he's not. Like, for me, I'm just acting normal, right? he could threaten me because I'm acting aggressive, just because other kids act aggressive, and then take that on us. That's obviously not our fault. But again, he's sort of unprofessional in the way that he says, "Oh, you're going to the colour guards," and never does. I mean, obviously he doesn't really have the authority to do that, I guess. But he does, of course he does. But again, it just annoys me. Anyways, gonna move on to another story. Yes, I'm running the well dry this week, haven't I? With all these stories I'm pulling out of nowhere. There was something else I was going to talk about. I think I can't remember it off the top of my head. There was the three main things I really wanted to talk about: the Olympics, obviously, Suicide Squad, and this story. But yeah, I think the news has been a bit dry this week. But again, I'm really tired. It's kind of getting late, and I wanted to finish this up so I can start writing my script for my new video. So I want to make this kind of short and sweet. Yeah, I'm going to my Red review now. The news has been good. I'm getting tired from trying to defend Suicide Squad. It's been a tough week for me personally. Not really like tough as in tiring or whatever. Tough mentally for some reasons. I don't know why. Not tired. I have a fun week, but some bits have been frustrating, I guess. Guess that's what I'm trying to say. And the Olympics is easing my pain for some things. But yeah. Anyways, it's been cool. But yeah, we're going to move on to the review. So here it is, Red Dwarf, and it's our part 6, I think. The 6th episode I selected for the 11-part favourite episodes. Polymorph. This is a classic. This is from another one from Series 3, or ironically, our last one was from Series 3 as well. It's episode 3 of Series 3, and it is an episode I actually haven't surprisingly seen in a while. A really long while. Again, directed by Ed Boy and written by Rob Grant and Doug Miller. I'm going to give you the synopsis and we'll get on with the review. Holly, played by Hattie Haybridge, detects a non-human life form aboard Red Dwarf, and alerts Rimmer, Chris Barry. Meanwhile, Lister, Craig Charles, is preparing a meal of his own recipe, Shami Kapab Diablo. And the shape-shifting creature appears as a basketball and bounces into the sleeping quarters where Lister is enjoying his meal. Lister catches the basketball and places it on the table before going to look outside the corridor. The creature rolls into Lister's plate and changes into a Shami kebab to disguise itself. Lister returns to his meal, but as the prods at kebab, it attacks him, triggering Lister's fear. To maximize terror, the creature turns into a boa constrictor, knowing Lister is terrified of them, completing Lister's fear. The creature returns to his normal shape, a huge, fleshy, slimy appendage monster with sharp fangs from between the jaws. A thin, slimy sucker appears and it sticks to Lister's forehead, leeching Lister of the sphere on which the creature feeds. As Lister recovers in the medical unit, Crichton and Holly explain why the monster is a polymorph, a shape-changing genetic mutant that went wrong. The ultimate warrior that leeches off negative emotions like fear, guilt, anger, paranoia, and drains them out of its prey. The crew discuss their options and decide to run off rather than take it on. The seal Lister, who due to having no fear, is all too eager to take on the polymorph in the medical unit and go off to prepare Starburg for a getaway. As they travel through the corridor decks, Rimmer falsely alerts the others to the polymorph. The cat, Don Young duels, and Crichton fire 2 heat-seeking bazookoids bolts down the corridor where Rimmer is pointing. As the bolts head down and turn back, Riss apologizes for the mistake. However, the bolts are now coming in on the cat and he flees. The cat manages to trap the boss behind a door, and on his way back, he is joined by a mysterious and beautiful woman, Frances Barber, who flatters the cat on his good looks, appealing to his vanity. Then she turns out to be a polymorph and feeds on the cat's vanity. Crichton rushes around the corner, trying to save their cat, and is closely followed by Rimmer. Rimmer tells Crichton that he is at fault that the cat was attacked, blaming him for the group splitting up, making Crichton feel terribly guilty for his actions. Rimmer turns out to be a polymorph in disguise, the real Rimmer having run the wrong way before Crichton found the cat, and sucks out Crichton's guilt. On their arrival back at the medical unit, Rimmer finds her mother, Kelly Greenwood, lying down with Lister, apparently having had sex with him while they were away. Rimmer's mother expressed the experience to her son in graphic detail, which greatly angers Rimmer, only to have his mother change into polymorph and devour Rimmer's anger. In the sleeping quarters, the emotionally crippled crew try to work out the next move, but things do not go well. Rimmer plans to hit the polymorph with a major leaflet campaign, followed up by a series of charity drives. Lister is determined whatever plan they think up must be as violent as possible, even if it involved themselves killing himself. The cat feels he is too worthless to have no option and asks that others pretend he's not there. And Crichton wonders if he can have someone sacrifice the others while dishing out insults. Despite their disadvantages, the four head back down the corridor to confront the monster. Although things don't start well, by pure luck, the two heat-seeking bazookas bolts are released and home in the hottest object in the room, the polymorph, which is destroyed instantly, and all the crew emotions are restored. The cat is desperate to clean himself up, and Crichton is ready to commit suicide to make up for his bad behaviour from earlier. Outside in space, a second pod floats near Red Dwarf, reading a sign on the side, reading Contents 2. Down in the cargo bay, the group walk up in line. First Cat, then Crichton, Rimmer Lister, and finally a second Lister. The second Lister turns out to be another polymorph. The remastered version replaces another... Oh, sorry, that's just the remastered version. Anyways, that was my synopsis. This is a very fun episode. If you've seen Alien, this is pretty much a shot-for-shot remake. And I haven't seen Alien, so I guess I don't appreciate it as much as I should. But honestly, this is just a fun movie. It takes a lot. It's actually quite... It had a little thing before the credits started where it said, this is quite a, scary episode, I guess. And I think this is one of the most inventive episodes I've seen of Red Dwarf. Now, there are several reasons for this. Firstly, I'm going to comment on the set design. It was really, really good. My favourite part is the cargo bay, cargo bay with all the big boxes, is one of the most inventive sets they've used in a while. It takes advantage of space, making it seem like very vast and huge, and it's probably just a small space with all the big cargo boxes. And it makes it seem creepy and weird, and making a familiar space seem creepy with the alien running about. So it combines our familiar, but what makes it scary as well. It's not exactly, a scary monster that I'm going to fear forever, but as a child, I could find this a little bit scary. The design of the creature is quite creepy. He has an appendage sticking out again that screws onto your head, which is kind of funny, but also kind of creepy at the same time. One of the best scenes is featured in this episode, where Lister wears, it's a shape-shifting creature, which is kind of cool, but Lister wears his underwear, and then it shrinks, and it's funny as hell. That's a classic scene, actually. And you can go check it out on YouTube. But no, this is a really fun episode. What was I going to comment on? Oh yeah, it's a really good episode for taking advantage of, taking advantage of a lot of things. It's honestly such a good episode. And also the action is so cool. It's like kind of simple, just shooting and all and running around, but it's so hilarious. It does have this kind of character moment where they all change characters based on a clever, idea, but it's actually done arguably later on, I think, in Back to Reality, where they do change characters again. It's a bit weird. One of my problems I had with the episode is, if you take one emotion away, arguably changing the entire character, it's too overdrawn. With definitely with Lister and Rimmer, they both become different characters from a changing emotion, which is arguably very funny and adds to the episode, but also not realistic, because if you take away one emotion from somebody, it's not going to change their entire personality like you would think it would. Like it doesn't change the person, it changes the personality, it doesn't change the person. That's what I meant. But Crichton and Cat are more realistically done, which arguably isn't as funny. But I think they're all really funny in this episode. It's definitely an all-round funny episode, apart from one person being individually funny. I honestly think definitely Cat and Cat and Rimmer are the funniest in this episode. I always think Cat's really funny. He's so down to earth here. It's really good. I actually really like Cat, kind of catty in a way, but in this one I actually kind of enjoyed it, even though he was really just normal in this episode. This is kind of like my favourite period of the Cat. Series 2 and Series 3 are really good for the Cat. He does undergo a bit of change, but honestly I think this kind of period of him being, he's not too smart, he's not too sassy, I guess. He's just a good cat, I think. And he kind of reminds me of a cat, kind of playful, but also kind of, all over the place. And friendly at the same time. He's a bit friendly, it's funny. Yes, so this is a really good episode. There's a lot of cultural references, of course. Alien. What was I going to comment on? I was going to comment on something. Oh yes, this was voted. It came Red Dwarf magazine. It is voted as great episode. 9.3% of the votes, so there's quite a lot of votes actually, and is one of the best episodes, and is voted as the best episode from Series 3. That is arguable. I think it is, probably, but I actually really do enjoy The Last Day as well. I think that's another strong episode. So Marooned. So I would say Marooned is probably my favorite episode of Series 3, which is obviously a lot of people would agree with me, but I think they're probably the two best episodes, definitely. It's a really fun episode for, like, watch it down, don't take it too seriously. It's not like an emotional episode, but the classic thing about it is it's funny as all hell. I mean, there's so many funny little jokes in here, and actually, it's kind of just like a character, like, it's sort of like, okay, there's not, when you look at it, there's actually not that many jokes, but the characters, the actors are so on ball with the humor. It's so funny. It's just the way they present it. I'm myself, I'm into, like, really weird humor. I like sort of like over the top, really outgoing, like, I know this isn't really a style of humor, but sort of like outlandish humor, if that's even a thing. Red Dwarf does it perfectly. This is kind of like a series where it does it really well, because it's kind of like, it's sort of like drawn between my favorite kind of well, I like the characters, but also the outlandish humor between those characters. It never really, like, the great thing about this episode is, personally, it never overdraws either one, the characters or the action. I think it does a perfect blend of it, but honestly, I think the characters are the ones that push the episode, which is always what I think I want from an episode of Red Dwarf. That's my perfect episode of Red Dwarf. It's characters driven, but not in the way you think it is. It's not like, we're getting deep development of characters, but at the same time, it's the reactions of the characters which make the monster scary, not the monster itself. That's my thing. Yeah, I think that's a perfect description. The reactions are so cool. They just, I don't know, I just love it, and I think everything about the characters is just brilliant. So yeah, this is one of my favorite episodes. I think it's really good, but it's not like top 10 for me. I think it's probably top 15 or top 20 Red Dwarf episodes. It's like one of my favorite episodes in a general sense. I would say, oh yeah, throw that episode on a few times. That's a good episode. And plus, I haven't seen it in a while. I don't know. You're probably going to laugh at me when I say it's less sci-fi and more character. It actually is. You'd think it'd be more sci-fi, right? Because it's a monster, right? But it's not really. It's I don't know. It's not the best character episode. It's not the best sci-fi episode. But this characters kind of carry the sci-fi. It's kind of weird mix of the two. It works on a lot of levels. Yeah. So this is a good episode. Next week we are going to be doing, I won't tell you yet because that will be a spoiler, but now let's move on. We just move on before it's too late. Yes, it's coming up to an hour in the show. I did want to cover one more thing before I leave you guys this week on the Hub Podcast, and that is my punishment. If I do not have a Hub Podcast episode up, which is of course the fully edited version, which you saw last week with the NBA video, the top 5 NBA teams that had never won an NBA championship, a video like that in the Series 1, Season 1 I should say, is a more correct term, but it is in fact my punishment. If I do not do that, I'm going to make a video, post it on the internet. I promise here, right now, I'm going to make a video, and I am going to, I can't really think of a punishment, honestly. If you guys listen to good punishments, actually, I'm going to think of something here right now. I'm going to cut to me thinking of that punishment right now. What should I think of? Okay, I've come up with a punishment here, guys. If I do not make that video, I will do a reaction video of one of my videos. Now, I'm not going to tell you which one. Actually, no, I'll tell you which one I'll do. I'm doing a reaction video, which will be incredibly boring, of me reading a book. Yes, I know, that was one of my worst selection of videos I could have chosen. I'm gonna do one, but it's gonna be really boring. Trust me, guys. It's gonna be me watching a book video for 20 minutes in silence. It's gonna be sort of hilarious, but horrible at the same time, and it's gonna be a really bad punishment because I don't like that series at all. I never finished it, that's why I hated it. But it was just me reading a book, come on, and it wasn't even good. It wasn't like I had a nice voice for an audiobook. I really don't. I mean, I like clicked and it was a really unprofessional camera, so it sounded like crap. Oh my god, I would hate to do that. But anyways, we will see if that happens. You check back on Monday if you see the video up. My, obviously, you know, my forfeit video for not having it up on Sunday. I'm going to set a time limit for 10 PM on Sunday. That video has to be up. So yes, hopefully that will be up, the new The Hub Critic Season 1 video. And if it's not, well, again, bad news for me. Anyway guys, thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like below, comment below, share for more. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.